Hello, hello, and welcome to the Color Whisperer Show. You see, I'm very colorful today. It's hot. Oh my gosh, it's August. Actually, you know what? We've had a very nice summer. I don't think we've had hardly any days over 100 degrees, which is really wonderful. Maybe one or two. But I'm like, I needed to be kind of flowy and light today. So, anyway, we are going to do a Q&A today. We're going to ask I've got some questions from back when we did it a few weeks ago that we didn't get to. So if you're watching and you have questions, please send them in. And I want to tell you, I'm starting a new thing, and it's very cool, very exciting. And it's for people who are just kind of stuck. Maybe they don't need a designer all the way, but they just they need some help. And I'm in a few groups on Facebook and they talk, ask a designer, ask for design help. And, it's kind of funny, some of the things people say. But I realize there's times when you really just need a little bit of design advice. So it's called Channeling Sacred. It's Create Your Sacred Space is what the program is called. And to get there, it's https:// www doesn't work anymore. I don't even understand this. My little brain just it's do not compute. So you can't go there from www, but you got to do the https thing. And then it's thecolorwhisperer.com/channeling sacred space. So I'll put I can't put a link in here. Maybe Mark can put the link in and have it running underneath me. That would be cool. So again, that's I don't know if you can hear me or not. But anyway, it's thecolorwhisperer.com/channeling sacred space. So if you have any questions that you need to ask and you're just like, I'm stuck and I don't know what to do, it's a half-hour virtual time with me. We do a tour of your place and we get your questions answered and get you unstuck. So if you do have any questions, please send them in. And they don't always show up on my screen. So Mark, if you can interrupt me if we get any questions, that would be awesome. All right. So I'll give you a question that I actually got from a client just recently. She's wondering about ready-made drapes versus custom drapes. Now, as a designer, I got to deal with both. On one hand, I love custom drapes. First of all, there's so many fabrics out there that I can choose from for custom drapes. It's night and day. It's like the pile for ready-mades is this big and it's like this big for custom. So I can really create anything. The other thing is the quality is so much better. The fabrics that you get for ready-mades, they're cheap. And they're cheap because it's cheap fabric. And the quality of the fabric is not going to last you a long time. It's just not. It'll last you a few years. The sun's going to dry it out, fade it out. It's not meant to be a long-term solution. It's meant to just be a short-term solution. So, and then the other thing that, it gets to be made exactly for your window, right? Because when you're trying to do with ready-made drapes, it's like you're trying, you're in, okay, I'm short. So it's like going to the big and tall store. Like, what am I going to buy in the big and tall store? Okay, I'm not really dressing in the clothes in the big and tall store because they only have that for men, I guess. But you get my idea. So the idea is that you're putting on something and, maybe you got hand-me-downs from somebody and you're like, okay, I got to make this work. Well, how do you make it work? Usually you have to do nips and tucks and let something out and you have to alter it, right? I mean, even sometimes you buy stuff in the store and it doesn't fit right. So you have to alter it. Really, this I love, but honestly, I don't always know how to wear this thing because Look at these big sleeves. And it's pretty like this. It's very pretty. Walking around doing life, I don't know. It's interesting. So even when you buy stuff from the store, I have a friend who she buys from the store all the time, and then she brings everything to her altar, and he makes it fit her. She's got smallish shoulders, so he takes it in, and all of these things are part of when you're getting something that doesn't quite fit. If it doesn't quite fit your window, you're just kind of making it work. Now, there are times when the budget is what it has to be. Look at these drapes next to me. These are custom. You're never going to find anything like that in the store. I love these drapes. I've had them for, oh, geez, 25 years, maybe. And they're beautiful. There's something going on with that last one. I don't know what, but they're beautiful. And the other thing with custom drapes too is they can do more as far as protecting your windows from sunlight and from cold. So we have a lot more options to help you. Depends on if you just want some privacy. Okay, cool. If you want, but a lot of times people buying drapes because they want to protect their furniture, their new floors, all these things. So go back to ready-mades. There are times when, maybe you just moved in, you just bought the house, you got to put something up, and, maybe you're only going to be there for a year. You don't want to put the money into custom drapes. So then there are times when ready-mades are appropriate. So let me go over a few problems that most people, or not problems, a few mistakes most people do when they're doing ready-mades. So first of all, majority of people when they're doing ready-mades do not buy enough panels. They make the panels 40 to 50 inches wide, mostly. If you're doing shears, you might find 100-inch shears, and you may occasionally find panels that are extra wide. But most of the time, you're going to see panels about 40 or 50 inches. So let's say you have a window that's 40 inches. So people go, oh, I only need one panel. It's 40 inches, maybe it's 50 inches. So I need one panel. No, you need at least two panels. And otherwise it looks really skimpy. And that's where things get difficult if you're dealing with long windows, is because those panels are going to separate. So if you've got, let's say you've got a long window and you need 6 panels. Now you've got spaces where each of those panels doesn't connect, right? So they're going to waver, and they're going to create, light's going to come in there. If that was a custom panel that would be sewn together, you're not going to have the light coming in that way. If you're handy with a needle and thread, you want to tack those together, you can. It's still going to have the hems on either side. It's still going to, it's still going to look different, but you can tack it together and you can make it work. So when you're looking at your window size, you want to, for regular drapes, at least double, if not 2.5 times. So if your window is 100 inches wide, then you need 5 50-inch panels. Got it? If you're doing shears, you want 3 times. If that window is 100 inches wide, then you need 300 inches of drapery. If that's a 50-inch panel, you need 6 panels. If that's a 100-inch panel, you need 3 panels. The other hard thing about ready-made drapes is the heading. A lot of times they just do what we call a shirred heading. And a shirred heading is basically a pocket, and you stick the rod through. Well, that's great until you want to start moving them. If you've got if it's a little window, it's not a big deal. If it's a big window, moving that's really difficult. So you can do a couple of things. You can make it less fullness, which is going to not make it look as pretty, but it will be easier to move the drapes. When we moved into our house, oh my gosh, they had tab top drapes, and they had gotten some big sticks that they used as rods. And those, they barely covered the window because they didn't do the panels right. And because it was on a stick, it was like a rough stick. It was like something they went out into the forest and found, right? So it's got bark on it and everything. And those drapes did not move at all. It was like, and they didn't have any tiebacks for them or anything. I just was like, as soon as we moved in, I said, those are going first thing. I worked in a drapery workroom at the time, so I went to her and I'm like, okay, we got to get something done fast. These things offer no privacy. They're not pretty. The color was just all off. And yeah, it was the front part of the house so people could look in, and I'm like, no, these have got to go. So anyway, if you are doing ready-mades, you really got to look at the function of them, how to make them more functional, and being able to pull them back and forth. And if you have a lot of panels, you've got to find some way to tack it, because otherwise it's gonna look bad, honestly. So that's the biggest mistakes there. You might be able to tack it with, you might be able to tack it with the little guns that you put. When you buy clothes, it has a little tag on it. I know you can buy those. See, I've never done this before. I'm just thinking out loud as we go. But I think you can make those really short, and you can tack them together, and they're white. So as long as either you tack them from an inconspicuous place, maybe on the seams and in the back, that way you don't really see them, you might be able to do something like that. All right. So anyway, that's one idea. Maybe we'll come up with a few more before we're done. So, I personally love the look of custom drapes, the functionality of custom drapes. But, sometimes ready-made is what it is. All right. So that's that question. All right. So the next question, this one gets overlooked a lot. And whenever I'm working on a bathroom or a kitchen or doing any kind of whole house remodel, I always look at the person, see how old they are. I tend to get people 40 and above. Usually people who are 20 don't call me. But I tend to get people 40 and above. And ask them, how long are you planning on living in this house? Very key question. If they're flipping the house, they're going to live in the house for 2 or 3 years, we're going to make different decisions. It's got to still feel like them. I don't believe in decorating just for resale, but there's some things we may not do if we're doing it with resale in mind. Because you never know what the next person is going to like. I cannot tell you how many things I have seen that are absolutely stunningly beautiful, and people tear them out. The next owner tears them out because they don't like them. So you don't know what the next person is going to like that takes on your house. We, through some interesting chance, we actually have a mutual friend who knows the owners of my house, and they came over and they're like, this doesn't look like the same house at all. They couldn't believe how different it was. And because we did change a lot. We didn't change, when we changed the kitchen was a disaster. And, we didn't do major bathroom remodels, but changed all the colors and all the drapes and added molding. We did a lot. And they took some pictures and they sent it to them. And they were just like, oh my gosh, can't believe that's the same house. And, our taste was very different. They liked what we'd done, but our taste was very different. And what they thought was beautiful was very different from what I think is beautiful. And I don't want to say that they're not wrong. They had kids come in and do sponge painting. That was wrong. It was bad. But their color choices were not my color choices. And so, it's just different, right? So you don't know what the next person's going to like. I don't believe in designing just so that the next person, taking a guess what the next person's going to like, because you don't know. You don't know. I had a client who, they were selling their house and their realtor was like, we have to get rid of all the window treatments. They had gorgeous window treatments. And we have to paint everything white. And they asked me what I thought. And I said, I don't think so. They happened to be buying a house on the other side of the country. And I said, well, you've just been house hunting. What did you see? What were the most attractive houses to you? Was it the ones that were all white or the ones that had color? Oh no, we didn't like any of the all white ones. In fact, the house we bought has got color. I'm like, okay. Anyway, they painted everything white. I don't know what happened with the sale, but I know they sold it. I don't know if they got more because they painted everything white or not. So anyway, you just don't know what the next person's going to like. And, for me personally, I'd rather paint over somebody else's color than, pay for them to paint everything white and have that be part of the house sale. And then now I got to paint it anyway, because it's not what, I'm going to paint it anyway, no matter what. So why not just paint over somebody else's color instead of having to pay for their painting everything white? So you don't know what the next person's going to do. And you've got to still make it yours. It's very important that it fits you, because you have no idea what the next person's going to like. My kitchen, I'm only 5'2". There's a part of my kitchen that's 3 inches lower because it makes a big difference in cooking and cutting and making dough and stuff like that. Next person that moves in this house, maybe 5'9". And maybe the cook is 5'9". She's going to hate that. The next person that moves in this house could be 5 feet tall and she loves it. Don't know. The kitchen counter when we bought it was lower. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. Because it was already my height. It was ancient and it was ugly and it was falling apart, but it was the right height. And there are other people who would have come in this house and went, oh, there's a lot of us out there that are 5'2" and are really going to appreciate that lower counter. I have no idea what, maybe the next person that comes in this house is 6'4", and the first thing they're going to do is knock that thing out. I don't know. So I don't believe in decorating just for the next person, because you just don't know what they are, what they like. All right. So we'll go on to the next question. So when do I call in a designer? That's a question I get a lot. Oh, I know where I was. I was back on the bathrooms. I got lost. Sorry. Okay. So whenever I'm working on a house and I'm redoing the bathroom, I always ask, how long are you going to stay in this house? And oftentimes the answer is, we're going to be here for a long time. And I always bring up ADA. This is something that a lot of people don't think about. I'm healthy now. I feel fine. I feel fit. My health is great. I don't want to think about getting old. I don't want to think about what kind of problems I might have when I'm older. I feel great. My house is fine. If I'm doing, especially if I'm doing a bathroom, if the bathroom can handle it, I always bring up, what about doing ADA? Because there's a lot of reasons, and ADA stands for the American Disabilities Act. This is also called Aging in Place. They keep changing the name because people don't want to talk about getting old. It's no fun getting old. But these are things that really make a house more livable. And it's not just your health. What about visitors? What about your parents coming over, relatives, friends? When I was little, we used to have concerts in our house, and we had a blast. And we had several people that came to the concert, and they were in wheelchairs. And we would put a temporary ramp up on the front porch, and that's how they got in, or they would come in through the backyard. And then there was just one step that we would put a ramp up for them. And my mom, she had polio when she was little, so the front steps were actually made for her anyway, because they weren't regular steps. They were long, how do I say this? So the rise, that's how tall they were, was less for her. And the tread, that's the horizontal part, was wider for her because she had to get up one step at a time. So we had a handrail for her. And instead of just having a normal tread is about a foot, we made it about 18 inches. So that gave her more room to work with. And it was great. If we did have wheelchairs, some wheelchairs were easy to go up those steps. It just worked. Because they were about half the height of a normal step. But when they had to go to the bathroom, it was a big deal. So we had one bathroom at the end of the hall, and there's nothing ADA about it. And the only way they could use it is they had to leave the door open to get the wheelchair in. And so we actually had a accordion door in the hallway. So that way, if they had to go to the bathroom, we could pull the accordion door shut. Had other uses as well, but this was one of them. And somebody would stand outside and you can't go in, and that was a lot of effort for this person. You can imagine the last thing they wanted to do was ask to go to the restroom because it was a big deal. I had a client years ago. She was 40. She ran a gym, perfect body, very healthy. She only ate healthy, exercised every day, Last person in the world you would think would need an ADA house, right? Well, she went skiing and she tore up her knee. And she was so happy that she had an ADA house. She had just bought the house, and it was built with a lot of the aging in place stuff in mind. And she was just like, if I had been in my old house, I would have been stuck in my living room. I wouldn't have been able to do this. I wouldn't be able to do that. Because of the way her house is built, she had free run of her house. She was able to use the bathroom. She was able to take a shower. She was able to get in and out of her house. There was steps in the front, but the house was built on an incline, and there was an alleyway that went along the side. And if she went into the back, it was a 2-story house. If she went in the back, there was a door that she could roll into on the main floor of the house. And the bathroom was set up for wheelchairs, so there's plenty of space. She could get in there, she could turn around. And she was so grateful that she had this. And, how many of us are dealing with parents that suddenly need help? And if your house is set up for them to come and stay with you, and it's, even if they don't come and stay and they come visit, maybe you want the grandparents to come for a week and enjoy the kids, you know, if there's a space that is more easy for them to get into, it's going to make it a lot more enjoyable for everybody. So the ADA thing, I always ask about, I always encourage whenever the house suits. Now, if I'm working on a bathroom on the second floor, I don't care. Because you got to get up the stairs to get there. You know, it doesn't matter. But I always look at that whenever I'm doing a project. And it's something that most people don't think about, because all they're thinking about is how is their body right now? And especially if you're going to be in a house for 20, 30 years, you need to make sure that that house is going to be compatible with you as you grow, as things change. And there's some things that you can't predict. You know, I know somebody who had polio, and a large shower without the curb. That's the big thing right now, and it's so cool. It's so beautiful, and it's easy for a wheelchair to get in and out. But for her, she doesn't have a wheelchair. She just doesn't have a lot of balance. So that's not good for her. She actually needs a chair. If she had a bathroom like that, then she would have to have a special chair in there to keep her from losing balance, and she could sit in the chair. Now, maybe you could have something like that with a bench in it. There's a lot of things we can do. But she already knows what her capabilities are. She already knows what her struggles are. For somebody who doesn't know what your struggles are going to be, we just have to go with what's the most common. What do we have room for? Do we even have room for there to be a wheelchair in here? I don't know. So all these things we got to look at and design for the best possible situation. So that's another thing that gets totally overlooked. If you're doing a shower, always, always, always put bracers in so that you can put handles in. I know they're ugly. You may never need them, but you can't just put the grab bars in to the regular tile. If you put a lot of weight on that, your tile is going to fall out. So you want to put the extra wood bracers in so when they put those grab bars in, you can go into studs. You can go into wood. I'm just working on a bathroom right now. Guy's mid-50s, very healthy, but this is his last house. He knows it. And this is what he wants. He put the bracers in. He's like, I don't need them right now, but maybe someday. My mother-in-law came to visit. This other thing too is like, you may have somebody come visit that needs it. My mother-in-law came to visit. My shower actually does have a grab bar in it. It's small. It's like this, but it does have a grab bar. And I don't know exactly what happened, but she was in there one day, and I don't know, she got dizzy or something. And she didn't get the grab bar. She grabbed the shower curtain. Well, how strong is a shower curtain? That thing rips, right? So that's what she did. She just ripped 3 of the hooks through. And she wasn't hurt or anything, but she was only 55, and she kind of got old overnight. Old isn't just our bodies. It is how we take care of our bodies. It is, there's a lot of factors, but it's also how we think. She got diabetes, and immediately it was, I can't. I'm an old woman, and she changed overnight. My mother, they both lived to be 72. My mother-in-law, she spent, last 5-6 years of her life, just, sitting on the couch doing nothing. In the hospital, not fun. My mother, she never said I can't in her life. And she was very active, and she just kept being active. There really wasn't any space for her to not be active. So, but my mother never thought of herself as old. In fact, it was funny. We had a concert in our house, and the person who sang came up to me, and he says, "Is that old lady your mom?" And I'm like, "What old lady?" I'm like, "I never saw my mom as old. She never saw herself as old, but she had white hair, and she never stopped." And that's the dangerous part, is when you stop doing, when you stop learning, when you stop being curious. That's the dangerous thing. Stop moving. We got to keep moving. Everything. Got to keep learning. This is all part of what keeps us young. So, anyway, but there she was. She missed the grab bar. She ripped the shower curtain. Plastic, wasn't a huge deal, but you don't know who might come to visit. You don't know what the state of your parents might be when they come to visit. It's just easy to have stuff there, and as you need it, you can work with it. And it doesn't have to be ugly. It doesn't have to look like a hospital. It can be very pretty. This bathroom I'm working on, oh my gosh, I'll find a way. It's so cool. So I'll tell you about it, and hopefully you can imagine. So the guy has 2 big dogs. They are Irish setters. They're big dogs. Like if they stand up, they're big as me. And he wants a place to wash the dogs. And so he did the 0 curb thing. And it's a big shower. It's probably 6 by 6. In the corner, there's a pony wall. And that covers, so there's 3 walls that are regular walls. Then we have a pony wall on the 4th wall, and there's no door to get in. There's just a space that you walk in and out. And where the pony wall is, there's a little bench that you can sit down on. So he can go in there. There's plenty of room for both dogs. They're rambunctious. They like to jump. They're young. They do what little, young dogs do. So he can go in there. He can shower them off. Everything's right there. It's got the long drain. Everything's just right there. And he doesn't have to worry about anything. The other shower was too small. He could only do 1 dog at a time. It made a huge mess. Now everything is open. There's no mess. And what we did was he loves dunes and very much natural stuff. And he loves gray. So I found this gray tile that's got kind of little waves in it. It looks like, if you look at a picture of sediment, it kind of looks like stone, or all these little gradations of gray. And then we found this tile that is very irregular stones, like stepping stones. If you were to go into a garden, and you might see a garden path with a bunch of different sized stones, something like that. And so that's the floor in this whole bathroom. And then we took some of that floor and we had it on the main wall of the bathroom. So as you come in the bathroom and you look at the shower, that's the main wall. So we put a little bit in the top right corner, and we put a bigger bit on the bottom left corner. And then where the niche is, it's in the niche. And it just takes this bathroom from to wow. just a little touch. Like none of the tile is expensive. Okay, the layout, the tile guy might have charged more labor because of the tile, but it wasn't a lot more. So, but I tell you, just by adding those little extra things, and we made the top of the seat the stone, the rocks, the garden rocks as well, and it just carries it all throughout. The bathroom is so beautiful, and I wonder. Well, I'll put it up on my YouTube. It's on my Facebook, but I'll put it up on my YouTube and you can see it there. And it's still in progress. We're not done yet. It's but you don't have to spend a ton of money to do something really unique and really, really beautiful. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Because, it's tile. We didn't go crazy on any, $30 and a square foot tile. I think the most expensive tiles like $12 a square foot. And that's the floor, so there's not a lot of it. But it's how we use it. And that's one of the things I love to do is to create fun tile patterns and do something a little unexpected. And it's a great way to get more bang for your buck. That's another question I get a lot. How do I make this work? And this is something this guy loves. He's not going to get tired of it because it's who he is. He goes sand duning every weekend. Not every weekend, but he goes sand duning a lot. He loves that feeling of freedom, of being in these undulating hills and all the colors and everything. And when you step in this bathroom, that's exactly what you do. It just feels like that. And finding the right paint colors. We were playing with paint colors and got those settled up and having it all just flow together. It doesn't take a lot to make something really beautiful. People go, oh, I can't afford a designer. It's so expensive. It doesn't have to be, It doesn't have to, there's some designers out there. Yeah, you're dealing with Frank from Father of the Bride, I went to the showcase house and there was this designer there and his room was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And it was a dining room and he had the most magnificent set of silverware I think I've ever seen. It was something like $1,000 a serving. Oh, okay. Not most people aren't going to spend $1,000 per setting on silverware. You can only imagine what the china costs. But so yeah, but there's so many things that I haven't gotten that client. I tend to get clients that are more, everyday kind of clients. They just want something unique. And it just takes some creativity. So that's what the Create Your Sacred Space is all about, is get some of my creativity, see what's missing, right? This guy, once we found this tile, this whole bathroom just went bam, it came to life. My efforts in this bathroom are very minimal. He's very handy, so he's doing all he likes to do project management and all that stuff. So my part of it is actually very minimal. But it was getting that creativity, finding that spark, finding that product that he didn't know what to do. And he couldn't see, how do we make this different? How do we make this fun? How do we make this unique? And he brought me in to do that. Gosh, time's going by fast. It's already, we got 20 minutes left. Okay, so back to some colors here. So I do some work on Facebook. There's this, group Ask Anything interior design. And sometimes I'll go in there and I'll give advice, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm too busy. But hey, Mark,
I don't know if you got the memo, but it's hot out there. I just stepped outside while you were doing the show and listening. I'm going like, it's hot out there.
it's hot out there.
Yeah.
And you got the humidity too. I don't know about humidity. We get humidity every now and then, and I'm like, this is icky.
You're not a big fan of humidity?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's been a long time since I've been in the South and really dealt with humidity. I went to Louisiana 10 years ago,
Hmm.
August, and that was a little bit, but honestly, I was going through the dark night of my soul.
Wow. Well,
Really
speaking of dark night,
thought it was at that point. I was getting away from, uh, we had construction on three sides of my house, and I was just like, I got to get out of Dodge. So
I understand.
doing. I was looking for peace, and that's what I got. So I really wasn't paying attention to.
Well, speaking of that, because even in the hot weather, sometimes people will get out there. Because when I saw, because there's a parking lot not that far from us and everything, and they were actually doing something that I know you love dearly, but I don't know if you love this style and everything. So there was a couple people that were getting to get into what is commonly called line dancing. So I was going like, I wonder if she can do line dancing or the electric slide or any of that stuff, because there were people that it's hot. So I don't know how many people were going to try it, but the DJ was trying to get them into some line dancing.
I have no problem with line dancing. I've done some line dancing. I'm just not a big country music fan.
Gotcha. Well, it's not because it's not always country music. Because like the cha cha slides is more reggae, like, and some of the other slides and some of the other line
Fine.
dances are R&B or even disco oriented.
Yeah, and I'll do Elvira. That's kind of fun. Like there's some country songs that okay, but um, the swing dance place that I go to on the weekends, they often will do a line dance, and
Hmm.
she she uses she uses different songs all the time.
Right.
So I like line dancing. I'm not a big fan of country music.
I
So
understand. Yeah, and like I said, I know that one of the popular ones is actually, I think, a reggae song, but there are a couple of other ones that have different beats. So there's not always country dancing. I know the kind of line dancing you're talking about. There's line dancing that's even used by some of my blues friends and some other folks. So there are different styles that isn't always country music oriented.
the line dancing's cool.
Yep. It can be cool, especially when you get people doing various things. Because there was even a time during the pandemic that I would go to some online day parties. So they're kind of like the things that you see on rooftops doing the before the pandemic, and they're back live again. But there's very much the young people that do them, but they will have like a party that's literally a day party. So it might start at like 5 or 6 in the morning and go till whatever time they get tired. So I think some of them might even start earlier than that, but they involve like yoga, and I know you're into that mindfulness space. And also they'll have different sponsors, like I think Opera sponsors it, but they'll definitely have like the Village people or other kind of people that are performing, and they'll have you literally in your. Because I remember during the pandemic, literally being in my house trying to do either the yoga or the dance steps. Unfortunately, there was nobody in the house but me. So if I was embarrassing myself, nobody could laugh at me but myself.
You want to hear something funny? So a friend of mine got married a long time ago, and she's Filipino, and her mom is just like the cutest little Filipino woman. Like picture Sarah, think about the Sarah, super cute, and like you can't say no to her, right? And so she wanted everybody to dance,
Mhm.
and she went around to each table. You got to dance. You got to dance. You got to dance. I forget what song it was, but they had a song, and she was doing aerobics at the time, and she had everybody doing her aerobics routine. She got up at the front of the room, and she's okay. And we're doing her aerobics routine, but it was something everybody could like. People who don't feel comfortable dancing, like okay, well I can follow her, right? And and it was just the coolest thing. And she went around every table. You got to dance. You got to dance. You got to dance. Just follow me. Just follow me. It's easy. It's fun. And there we all were doing her aerobics routine.
Wow, that sounds crazy. That's, that sounds totally crazy and everything. By the way, I know that a lot of people, there's always jokes about height and different heights and everything. But apparently, folks that are under 5 feet are or around that height are getting some love because apparently Kamala's mother was all of 5 feet. She kept saying that during the speech when she was talking about her mother, who apparently inspired her and everything. So no matter what people think of her politics, apparently her mother was a 5 foot ball of energy who was interested in medicine that it was originally from India and everything. But yeah, I kept hearing her reference her mother and talking about how she was literally all of 5 feet. And even the pictures they showed, she was much shorter than either her or her sister. So definitely it seems like she had a lot of energy and tried to keep those young ladies in line when they were kids.
My mom was 4'11",
Right.
and we I was in junior high, and my sister was in the cerebral palsy left autism. So it's kind of like, it wasn't quite Olympics, but they had all the people. It's like the Special Olympics, but the Special Olympics don't actually allow everything. And so these are the people that couldn't get into the Special Olympics.
Gotcha.
And we went to one of the things that was there was dwarfs, little people, whatever you want to, you know. I can't keep up with what's right anymore. um, and so we went to a basketball game that they were doing, competition that they had, and it was really fun to watch. My sister was she's about 24 inches high, 20 inches high, right? My mom, you got mom doing mom things, and my mom was next to another mom was a little person, and she's, my sister was taller than her kids,
Hmm.
and they're all playing together, and my mom's like, well, I hope my kid doesn't hurt your kid. She's like, you don't have to worry about my kid. My kid can handle herself. She's much older than your kid. Don't worry about it. She's fine. And they got to chatting and stuff, and she says, well, the height requirement to be a little person is like 4'10", but we'll let you in if you want.
Oh,
And my mom said, well, thank you very much. She straightened up as much as she could. I thank you very much, but I think I'm okay.
she didn't want to be part of that club.
She did not want to be part of that club.
It's like, no, you can't make me part of that club.
No, no.
That's not right. She's supposed to be part of that club.
She's
So
like,
tell
no,
me, because the other thing that I know sometimes people get is stress balls.
what?
I said the other thing that people were giving away was pins, but they were also giving away stress balls. So I was just wondering, are you one of those people that use stress balls on a regular if you were having one of those bad days? They're those balls that you can squeeze that supposedly are supposed to let you release some of the stress and everything, but I don't know how effective they are. But I was just wondering, since you're all into wellness and wholeness, if you ever use these stress balls, because they're usually made of something pudgy that is supposed to be squeezing the stress out and everything.
I have not used those. On the unhealthy side of things, that's what cookies are for. On the healthy side of things, one great thing you can do is box breathing to help relieve stress. And
Right.
sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night. I don't do it so much now, but like I've woken up in the middle of the night and I'm like having trouble sleeping or something. So you can do box breathing, and box breathing just kind of you're having a panic attack or something. And I'll show you what it is. You breathe in for the count of 5,
Hmm.
hold for the count of 5, you breathe out for the count of 5, you hold for the count of 5. And what it does is it just regulates your system. So it's like this.
Wow.
And you don't have to do it very long. It calms your system. And here's one I just learned. This one I like a lot. Now, this one's kind of fun. So when you hear bad news,
Right.
what's the first thing you do? Oh my gosh,
Yes.
right? Right? So what happens is when you put your hand on your chest here, when you're stressing out, flat hand on chest,
Hmm.
it's connecting a circuit. So our body is electrical, right?
Right.
And when you do that, you're creating a closed circuit. because otherwise we've got lots of different meridians, but that closes a circuit and the body feels safe. And that's why we do that.
Wow.
It's an instinctual thing, but there's a real reason for it. So if you're stressing out, you just take a second and put your flat hand on your chest like that. It lets your body know it's safe, and it's like, oh, in this tumultuous time, you're taking a second to tell me that that the body says that I'm loved. That's the body reads it that way. I'm
Oh,
being
wow.
taken care of. I'm being loved.
Mm,
And so it it's easier and takes less time than the box breathing is still really good.
that
Um,
makes sense.
but you might be in public and you can't just. It might be you can box breathe discreetly,
Yeah,
but
you can find a way to do it discreetly. You mentioned, and one of my coworkers just had some cookies that they got, so they would agree with you that cookies are a good relief. I have another coworker that would say the smell of coffee is how they get their relief because they definitely like the aroma that some coffees gives them and everything. So, just really quickly, what kind of cookies is what gives you that relief and everything?
what kind of cookies do I like? Oh my goodness. I like snickerdoodles. I like chocolate chip. I like oatmeal. I like lemon cookies. I like a lot of cookies. I like chewy cookies. How about that? I don't like hard cookies. I don't like, yeah. And one of my favorite places to go for ice cream right now has this lemon pound cake ice cream.
Ah,
It's unbelievably good. I don't know how long they're gonna have it, but I gotta go back and get some more. They switch flavors a lot, and um, yeah, lemon pound cake ice cream,
that sounds good. So, are you,
unbelievably good.
mm, sounds very delicious. We just had chocolate chip and oatmeal, I think, and some of the other more standard cookies. Now, are you because I can't remember, a coffee drinker? And if so, are you one of those people that love certain aromas? Some people like strong coffee, some people like light coffee, some people don't like coffee at all. Like I said before, I am a tea drinker, sometimes too much of a tea drinker, but are you one of those coffee drinkers? And if so, do you like that kind of thick aroma of certain coffees?
I do actually. I worked at a place where they had vanilla coffee, and it smelled
Hmm.
good, but I don't like the taste of it. That much whiskey, that much cream, we can have a conversation about coffee, but that's not really coffee anymore.
See, that's not coffee anymore.
That's not coffee anymore, and I don't even care for that much. Really, the cream was the best part. Maybe the whiskey too. I don't know, but I don't think I've had whiskey straight. So no, that's not true. I have had, but yeah. So I don't drink coffee.
Not a big coffee drinker, huh?
There's they tell you the health people, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Da, da, da. No coffee. I'm like, yeah, that's easy. When I did get pregnant, they give you the list of things you're not supposed to eat, and a lot of people struggle with that no coffee, and for me, yeah, that one is not a big deal.
You didn't have any struggle. You didn't have any struggle with that though.
No, no.
You were like, I do not. I do
But
not.
not make money off me.
You were like,
And then you see, oh, you shouldn't go to Starbucks because da, 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 or the health reasons. There's you know different things, and I'm like, money reasons. There's people that say there's some stuff in the logo that's not good energy, and I'm like, well, I don't go in there anyway, so it doesn't really matter what the reason is. I don't go there.
you're just not going there at all.
uh, it's funny, like you see these things on Facebook. It's like you should boycott this place because XYZ. And I'm like, well, I don't go there anyway, so they're not going to notice if I boycott. You know,
Yeah, if you boycott, they'll be like, we didn't see her the first time.
it's a yeah, right. And it's like it doesn't work if you don't go there. I don't go there to begin with, so
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to boycott something that you're not using in the first place.
exactly. Well, it's easy to boycott it because but like they're not going to notice. Like,
They're not gonna pay any attention. They're gonna be like, they're
that.
gonna be like, she boycotted. How do we know? we didn't see her, so we don't know if she boycotted or not. And then they might try to talk you into being non-boycotted.
No, no. Like, what's there's a fast food place people are always talking about.
There are several of them: McDonald's, Wendy's,
No,
KFC.
there's one they always there. I forget why, but I'm like, well, I won't go there anyway. So there's
Oh, is it Chick-fil-A? Because Chick-fil-A has a thing about. There's a couple of reasons. Chick-fil-A is the very Christian one because they're not open on Sundays, I think. And then I know some people that did not like some of the political stances of, say, a Mellow Mushroom or a Papa John's or some of those chains. And I think even Subway had some problems with some of their political stances. So it could have been one of those. I'm trying to think of who you were talking about, but I know
might have been
different.
Chick-fil-A. It might have been Chick-fil-A. But you know what? And Hobby Lobby gets a lot of crap for that too. But I lived in England when I was a semester when I was in college, and they did the thing where a lot of places were not open on Sunday,
Hmm.
and like you could not go to the grocery store on Sunday. There was a little store on campus that was open on Sunday, but couldn't go to the grocery store. I don't remember about the restaurants because I didn't eat out that much, but there was a lot of places that were not open on Sunday. And you know what? At first, when I got there, I was like, "Oh, this is horrible." But honestly, after living in it for a while, it was kind of nice because Sunday was a day to relax. And isn't that what we're supposed to do? Is, you know, we're supposed to have one day where we rest. And religiously, we're supposed to go to church if you don't believe in that, but we're still, God, when you go back to the Bible, it says on the seventh day he rested. Our bodies are not meant to be 24/7 go 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 go. And just because we have some time doesn't mean we have to fill it with go 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 go. And living in that was really wonderful. And so when I see these stores that are closed on Sunday, I'm actually glad because I think that it's a good thing. We need to take some space and breathe a little, and we don't. And I think more stores should be closed on Sunday because it's, I didn't go to church when I was in England. I don't even know where there was a church, but um, I suppose I could have found one, gotten to one. They didn't have one on campus. and but it was still just really nice taking that day of like the pressure in the air was just less. um, Remember when COVID first started and everybody was staying at home and there was different tension in the air, but there was more fear in the air, but there was also this like, how do I explain it? The constant rush, 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 calm down. And it was very interesting. Like if you can remember what that felt like without feeling fear, or maybe like when we have a holiday, I don't know, we really don't have any days where we shut down. I mean, Christmas shuts down, but we get all this, it's nice, but there's so much about leading up to Christmas and oh my God, I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, I gotta do this. And then there's all these commercials about Black Friday and you gotta do this, and the next day, and you're like, ugh. So we don't really get that space to just breathe. But having everything closed on Sunday forces you to breathe. So I
Yep,
actually think it's a great thing,
yep, that makes sense. Sometimes people need that break.
right? And let's face it, there's always something calling our attention and you don't do it, right?
And sometimes the stress is self-made stress. Like I know I'll be stressing next week over getting my money together for my fantasy football league, as well as what players I'm going to pick for the team, and all along those lines. Because I've already talked to my brother who got me into this decades ago, and also the commissioner. So I know I got to get my money together because there's an entry fee. Plus, I've also got to figure out who the heck I'm picking for my team.
Can you send that to me? And I'll pick it by colors and let's see who wins.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll send that to you. You pick them by colors.
Because I know nothing about football. I know nothing about the teams. I know nothing about their records. I'll just pick by colors and let's see who does better.
All right, that'll work. I'll send you the players and you pick them by color.
I just need to know which team is playing which team and what their colors are.
Okay,
So
we'll do that. Yep.
let's see. Let's see.
That could be an interesting challenge because we do the ones where we pick the players, but we also do the ones that's game by game, and that one would definitely work for the colors. So I'll give you a list of the colors of the team, and then you pick them by color, and I'll pick them according to how way I want to pick them. We'll see who does better.
Okay. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, that will be fun. Sounds like a plan.
All right. It is time for some can do spice.
Sounds good. We can do Kindle Spice and get ready to get on out of here. As always, another delightful conversation.
Thank you.
You know how people love to enjoy food and don't understand how to flavor their food or how to replicate a meal? They're interested in supplements but don't know where to begin? Well, what I do is I take the guesswork out of enjoying flavor and wellness with my flavorful spice blends so that they can create delicious meals with healing benefits. Can Do Spice was created to help cooks at any level enjoy healing through food. Every spice blend was designed to give added health benefits of natural herbs. Every blend is complete. There's no need to add any additional spice for a delicious meal. Saving you time and money while adding supplements to your meals can be both tasty and fun. My earliest memories in the kitchen began with my father, Kenny Can Do Bond, so it was fitting that I would name this line after him. I have always looked to natural remedies to supplement the body, and I found myself hiding herbs and minerals in foods for my family. That's when it hit me. Everyone needs Can Do Spice. Everyone should be having this. It's an exclusive brand for cooks at any level who want to create flavorful dishes with healing benefits that can satisfy the body and soul. Add a little spice to your life. Give Can Do Spice a try.